Mexico Listens is a statewide project co-sponsored by the New Mexico Humanities Council and the League of Women Voters of New Mexico.
It's a project that encourages people to listen to one another, to come with diverse points of view and feel comfortable sharing their different perspectives.
What we have done is we've tried to pull diverse peoples together to give them an opportunity to share their views, their ideas in a safe space.
We want to listen to people. We want our democracy to be stronger. So community conversations have been the core part of New Mexico Listens.
It is called New Mexico Listens because it's an effort to emphasize the absolute imperative to start listening to one another.
So New Mexico Listens grew out of the National Endowment for the Humanities initiative that was called A More Perfect Union.
Each state was awarded money to conduct programs that would fortify democracy and promote civic engagement in their communities.
The New Mexico Humanities Council reached out to the League of Women Voters because we've worked with them on many other things over the years. Two of the statewide programs that were most important to me were the Democracy in Elections and the New Mexico Herstory. The education discussion was all about the very controversial actions by school boards and by legislatures across the country to try to sanitize what is being taught in the schools. The other topic that we did as a statewide conversation was New Mexico Herstory. One of the things we wanted to highlight is women in the arts, women as social leaders.
Santa Fe County League has used an approach that we call listening to learn. And what we mean by that is to create a space open enough that people can feel free to speak their minds and their thoughts without fear of rebuttal.
As we've gone through our 9 events, some were standalones and some, it turned out, were little mini-series. We have learned that the only way we can learn anything is by listening. We took 2 journeys to Edgewood in the southern part of our county.
For our community, it was a really great way to integrate newcomers and to reintroduce people to socializing in person. How do we take everything that utilizes our past and our present and builds on it to create a dynamic future for the community?
We did 3 events with HRA. They were revelatory to us in every possible way.
I was involved with New Mexico Listens in 2 ways. I was first a panelist with a group of people, and then later I ran 3 panel discussions, one for Pride Month, one for community involvement, and one for youth involvement.
In the Drums of Change, I discussed all of the different things that I've personally experienced throughout my life, just to try to educate other people on who I am as a Two-Spirit person. I think it's really important to focus on the youth to make sure that people are understanding the youth perspective.
New Mexico Listens is an important program because it presents an opportunity for a unique group of people to be able to hear each other's voices. And sometimes people don't agree on things because they've never thought about the other side of it.
In Santa Fe County, we take that attentive listening, that listening to learn, very seriously. I think our tagline says it all. Our tagline is, join us, we're listening.
Southern part of the state, we decided that we wanted to reach out to groups we hadn't met with before to better understand what they see going on in our democracy. And one of our league members teaches sociology at New Mexico State University, and she offered her class.
I think participating in the New Mexico Listens project allows students to gain insight and information, language also to think about democracy. Like all marginalized voices, young people's voices need to be heard.
These students, they have very big issues that they're dealing with. So if we can help them to become more aware that, they really do have a voice.
There was discussion about the minimum wage, some discussion of inequality, a lot of discussion about mental health issues.
We want to encourage young people at different levels, so we also have a member of the League who teaches government at one of our high schools.
Our students were the facilitators, and they were given the questions ahead of time. They facilitated that conversation. We sat back and took notes. Their concern was increasing minimum wage, voter apathy, reevaluating the two-party system.
I think every group mentioned mental health as an issue that concerns them. I got the sense that they really feel kind of helpless. That made me think that we really need to start addressing issues that the youth are dealing with.
And then we wondered, well, what other areas have we not had contact with down here? And we talked about the Green Chamber of Commerce.
That was a social networking evening, and we went around asking each of the members if they didn't mind taking a few minutes to answer 3 questions. Some of the insights included women's rights, immigration, LGBTQ rights, homelessness.
And there is the Tortugas Pueblo in our area. And we want to be good neighbors, and we have a relationship with indigenous people.
We just wanted to build a relationship with the Pueblo and thought that this would be a great opportunity. And it really brought to the fore how we need to reckon with our past and how our democracy was more exclusionary than inclusionary. I think this is an area that we need to start grappling with and really understanding the unique relationship that Indigenous peoples have with the U.S. government and our democracy. Thanks to New Mexico Listens, it was initiated.
We're losing our ability to talk in an interesting way with people who might disagree with us.
When you hear other people's perspectives on things, you learn that there's much, much more in common than there is in difference. And so having inclusive conversations, it's really the fundamental skill that we have to have in a democracy.
There aren't many opportunities that I see for people to talk about these important issues without getting into something that looks like a confrontation.
If we can create some new ways of thinking about how to communicate, maybe we can create some more spaces where people can feel comfortable sharing diverse ideas.
In addition to learning how to speak and listen to one another, we need to learn to solve problems together again, because that is how we get our government functioning in a way that works for all of us.
It's important, I think, for New Mexico Listens to continue because it really is an ongoing project of building relations, building community, building listening capacity.
It has opened many doors, both in Santa Fe County and in southern New Mexico.
Programs like New Mexico Listens are absolutely essential. We all bemoan the fact that we're not civil with one another anymore. That is because we never listen.
We've got to reestablish the community conversation so we're not in our own silos, only talking to our own friends and people who think the way we do.
The first year of New Mexico Listens was a foundation building year, but without consistency, you're not going to see real change. And New Mexico Listens needs to continue in order for people to practice listening to each other and to practice having these conversations.
It's important on every level that we learn how to speak with each other and solve problems.